the first camp meeting of 2025.
Ich möchte alle willkommen heißen zu dem ersten Camp-Meeting von 2025.
We're gathered here at Brenham in Germany,
Wir sind hier in Bremen in Deutschland.
and we have a weekend of 9 presentations, I believe.
Ein Wochenende mit 9 Präsentationen.
Let's open with a word of prayer.
Lasst uns
Holy God, we thank you for your goodness and your mercy towards us. As we gather together at this auspicious camp meeting, may we truly have a holy convocation. Those who are here in person desire a blessing, the blessing of fellowship, of unity, and common purpose. As we welcome you, we welcome all of our friends and neighbours across the world to join us as you teach us. In Jesus' name, Amen. Just a little bit of housekeeping. You're probably all aware that I've just returned from a camp meeting in South Africa. We knew when we were going to that venue that we were likely to have internet issues, but they turned out to be much worse than we anticipated. Of the 8 presentations that I did, only the first one was recorded via Zoom and was put online. The remaining 7 were recorded locally, and they've only just now been uploaded. But they're audio files. Only 5 of the 7 audio files have been uploaded so far. And the remaining 2, I think their numbers, I'm going to say 5 and 7, or 4 and 7. They should be uploaded in the next couple of days. I think there may be a video upload coming soon as well. If that ends up working out, the link will be made available to you. So that means many of you won't have listened to those presentations or seen the board work. So I just want to do a quick review of some of the highlights that we looked at that camp meeting. So a question that I've received over and over again over the last few months is why I have remained neutral regarding the Sunday law study. And when I say the Sunday law study, it's not specifically one person, but the various opinions that people have picked. justification of my position. Or perhaps I should say my approach. So what I did was I compared two Sunday law histories, the first and the last. I guess most of us would understand that we've got four Sunday laws in our history. Priests, Levite, Nethinims, and we'll call it the 144,000. And I compared the first and the last, the priests and the current one. We looked at two Sunday laws. I've put 2024. That doesn't mean I'm suggesting that the Sunday law was in 2024. And the discussion in that first waymark is actually 2012 to 2024. Oh, 14, sorry. All right, 12 to 14. So I laid out a dynamic of that first history of an angel, a message from a member, and I'll call it the movement, and that's the general membership. So once we set up that dynamic, we're then going to compare and contrast it with our own history. If we just call that 1, 2, 3, of course, the whole purpose of doing this is to understand what's happening today. So that 1, 2, 3 would line up for us with an angel, a message, and the movement. Any questions on that? So we understand why I would approach it that way. Does it make a difference? Does it make a Does it make a difference that this person who's given this message is an elder? You said elder. Does it make a difference if they're an elder? I'll just go with elder. So I'll go back. I'll go back to 2014 or 12. Number 2, is that person an angel or a member? You've answered your own question. Okay. So she's answered her own question. 2014 history, number 2. Blessing, is this person a member or an angel? Yes. Okay, so are we all clear that number two is a member? So we're okay with that? I'm not in charge. I have no idea. 2024, number two, Esther. Is that a member? Yes? Number two, is that a member? Yes? So we all agree that's a member. So when it comes to organization, we have a structure, yes? Or we'll call it some kind of family tree or tree. In this model, we have elders, leaders, Bible workers, and members. So depending on where you are in this structure, we know that everybody has a different place. So an elder is above a member. We all agree with that? Yes? They tell the members what to do. Do we agree with that? Of course, that's not true because they're supposed to serve the members, not boss them around. Okay, so when it comes to study, what's our structure look like for that? So organizationally, the structure is a hierarchy. So we'll call it a pyramid structure because I can't spell hierarchy. So for study, what's our structure? Iselin? Okay. So we have a structure. You said something else? Everyone's at the same level. So we'll call that horizontal. So elders and members are at the same level, which means there's no such thing as an elder. Everyone's the same. So according to Daniel 12, we'd use the word wise, depending on what passage you want to go to. We currently now call ourselves priests. So to answer the question, there's no difference between 2014, 2024. That number two in the first one was just a member, and the number two is an elder. That's one point. Being an elder does confer certain privileges. There's no denying that. And I just want to make one more comment. I just had number two here, a message and a member, and everybody seems to think there's only one message here or one messenger, and that's certainly not the case. So this does not just apply to a singular or to an individual. Curtis. You need to do it to me. Go into this section. So an angel is related to a message or a study, yes? Is there a hierarchy between angels who have a message and a regular member? Is that your question? Part of it? Or you already know the answer? Okay. So yes or no first. So Curtis said angel and a member. Yeah. I'll just ask one more question. Is there a qualitative difference? And what that means is the quality of their message better than the quality of the message of a member? So it's not better quality, right? So if it's not better quality, what's the hierarchy based upon? So you've said that the angel has a gatekeeping role. So the angel controls their own message, which gets dangerous. So I'll come back to my question. Is there a qualitative difference? Because if there isn't, what's the hierarchy based upon? Let's not talk about their own message. Let's not talk about gatekeepers. I'm asking, is there a difference between the message that comes from an angel and a message that comes from a member? And you've currently said no. So Curtis has brought the idea of put that aside. I want to ask the members here if they view a message that comes from an angel of a higher standing, which means it's of a higher quality than a message from a member. Andres? Members don't have any messages. Only angels have messages. So in 2014, you don't agree with that historical perspective here because the Sunday law message was in the hands of a member, not in the hands of an angel. So you know your statement isn't factually correct. So you must have meant something else because you know that history. That member number two is not an angel. in 2012 or 14? I just want to give Andreas a chance to. Okay, so in model number one, number two, you're saying that was an angel, not a member. So then I'm going to ask, how do you define what an angel is? How do they receive that accolade, that title? Can't be self-proclamation. So 2012, this member stands up, gives the message, and promptly gets kicked out of the movement. So how can someone kick out an angel? Because the angel is the leader of the movement. So if the angel sort of moves to one place, the movement moves with them. Curtis? No? Natalie? Tamina? Okay, so we're going back to the question of the quality of the message between an angel and a member, and Tamina says there's no difference. So Tamina says the member became an angel, so there's no difference. So when the person became an angel, are their messages now of a higher quality than a regular member's message? The answer is yes. If someone stands up and gives some different message to an elder Tess, so that Acts 27 stuff is rubbish, they can prove it, you're going to believe them. Who put all the people who said they're equal, you put your hands up now, you're going to believe that person. Put your hands up. You're going to put your hands up? You're going to put your hands up or not? Oh, that person here was a nobody, and they suddenly got kicked out of the movement. They were not accepted. And this is the trap that the people at the previous camp meeting got stuck into, got stuck in. When you start following members and start rejecting angels, the dynamic of your organization, your church, changes fundamentally. Esther, you're not agreeing with me, but you're the one who said they're the same, I think. let's get let's not be theoretical. Let's real life. Who's going to say a messenger, so a member, going to do a study, and you're going to believe them over an angel? Because if that's the case, answer this question: what is an angel? So you answer that one, Natalie. Tell me what an angel is. When a member can have a better message than them. Natalie said that in these two histories, number two is not an angel. We've stated that as a fact. And your question is what? The whole point of doing this is to try to understand our history by using a previous history. Otherwise, there's no point in doing this. So hopefully I've answered that question, why we're doing this. But my question was, you've said the study of a member v the study of an angel is the same. I'm 100% sure you said that. Qualitative means quality. Qualitative means the quality of the message. It wasn't for that. It's fine if you want to. If you didn't understand the question, but a fair few of you put your hand up when I said, "Are they the same?" and you said yes, as did many others. Keep on pointing to the board like that's going to do something. They're both members. And my question is, when a member stands up against an angel, who wins? Okay. We did not all say the angel. The majority here said it wasn't an angel. They were the same. Okay. So now we're hopefully all on the same page. We had the same discussion in the last camp meeting. And most people who participated said, we're as good as angels. We can think for ourselves. And I want to show you that you can't think for yourselves and you're not as good as angels. Cal.
Israel, they say we are all saints. And like, are you?
So these are the three leaders and I think the 250 princes who say that they're all holy and who made Moses ruler over. Curtis. Curtis's original question was what? Uh, so, Curtis says there's a problem here because I never put angels deliberately. Because the question was about an elder and a member. Oh, our screen's frozen, not me. Because this is a question of number 2. Okay, so hopefully we're all okay with that. Our screen's frozen. I guess you know that? Yep, okay, so look, they know. So beyond this, beyond the conclusion that you can come to, what I want us to see is how I've approached the problem. What do I need to do? So, if I were to give my apology and defense, I want us to see what approach I took. Because it's not about me as an individual, how nice I am, and how mean Elder Jeff was. It's not how we should approach these things. Are we all okay with that? That to me, the only valid way to know if something is right or wrong, I know it's a cliche, but is using methodology. The primary one that we should use is to compare and contrast. Yep. So I wanted to discuss this so we're all clear that the answer that I'm giving is based upon methodology, not based upon anyone's personality or their rank in the organization. Any questions? Natalie? Elder Tess isn't here to protect her message, and Elder Jeff isn't here to protect his message. The point being, who's going to protect Elder Jeff's message? Natalie? Who is? So the third angel protects the first angel's message. Or? So any angel will protect the other angel's message. Yeah. Sorry? No, no, no. The question was, who protects the third angel when they're not here to defend themselves? My question was, who protects the first angel when they're not here to protect themselves? And your answer is for the first angel? If you're going to do that, I'll just move on. I won't do it that way. Because when I respond to people, I don't debate, I respond with methodology and a sprinkling of logic. And so if you're worried about the third, Iselin, who should she be most worried about? She's worried about the third. I already gave the answer. Anyone? The first. You should be worried about the first angel's message, not the third angel's message. Because the first angel's message is at the very beginning and it carries you all the way through to the end. So who's protecting that message? The second. If the second is protecting the first, then we should have confidence of what? No, of what? That the second would protect the third. But you personalized it. I want to do it in the realm of angels. So you have no fear. But you do have a fear. And then you have to ask, if you want to, what's your fear based upon? Can you share it with us? So, for a start, you've used the word hijack, which, for a start of the word, you use the word hijack, which we can't accept in a Bible study forum like this. Unless it's me that's doing it. Unless it's me that's doing it. I won't let members use those words. Not in an open forum like this. So, the issue that you have is that you feel that the third angel's message is under attack by a member. Is that right? So, you could just say yes or no what I just said. Okay, I don't understand that. No, I said. So, do you believe that a messenger, a member, has put the third angel's message in jeopardy or of none effect? So, yes. Okay. Well, there's plenty of people who don't agree with that. But that was. So I hope has your question been answered. Question was who protects the third angel, and you've said yourself it's another angel. Yep. Okay. Any other points? Anyone? Andreas. Dated, sorry, I didn't understand your question. We're in 2014, and your question is? Yes. I don't know if you were here in the 12 to 14 period. I don't remember anybody being called a second angel back then. That person wasn't, for sure. Okay, so it wasn't recognized, but it was like it was a real angel, but nobody recognized. Okay, so if you don't recognize an angel, what do you have to assume? That they're not an angel? Agree? In hindsight, you can see that you're wrong, but in real time, you can't be wrong, can you? Can't be wrong if you don't know. Say that again. I'm not the only person who's defining it. We should all be able to define what angels are. They're people who have a message. They have all the characteristics given to us in Revelation 14. And in real time, how do you know if that person is an angel or not? That you can't. That's the point I want us to see. So at that time, the person may or may not have been an angel. If you go with the 2012 date, I think it's nearly 6 or 7 years afterwards that it's recognized, which is a long time afterwards. Yes, it's about people's perception of the quality of that message. When I asked the following question, if you're in that history, who would you have believed? Number one or number two? At the last campaign, almost everybody said they'd believe number two. Because they said, we know that was the truth. And I tried to show them the fallacy of that position. You can't follow number two. Can you? In 2012-14 history, you can't follow that member. You're obliged to follow the angel. Otherwise, you're in rebellion, aren't you? Yeah, we all agree with that. Agree with that, Blessing? Go ahead. So, somewhere here, Elder Tess said that the movement failed in the history of 2012 to 14. Would it upset people or confuse them if I call that the formalization and the close? Shut door. Hopefully that doesn't confuse anybody. So Elder Test said the movement failed then. Carry on. So break that down slowly. How was it a failure on whose part? So how was it a failure on the part of the members? I'm just going to call it in 2014. Why had the members failed? Okay, so I think I'm vaguely familiar with what you've said. So question, 2014, how or why did, I'm going to call it number 3, the movement, how or why did the movement fail? That's question 1. Carry on. Or is that it? Okay. So does everybody understand what's going on here? 1 second, Curtis. I think that's um, I think that's accurate to the history of what Elder Tess spoke of. So if I were to ask you your own question, do you believe the movement failed? We're defining movement as number 3. So in 2014, you listened to the angel as a general member. Got that correct? Oh, okay. Sorry. You've obeyed Elder Tess's statement of that history, and you said, "I've accepted it, but I didn't understand." Is that just a shorthand version of saying I disagree with her? Okay, so we'll say that. So you don't agree with what she said. So the question was, did number 3 fail? And you're saying they didn't. So you said, how is it possible for the general membership to see things any differently? She's a shorthand version of saying you disagree with her. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, no, it's fine. I just want to give other people an opportunity, which they won't take. Go ahead, Curtis. So add to what Blessing said. So 2012 is Moses striking the rock. Okay. So Moses striking the rock is a failure of number 1, which is the angel. not of number 3, the congregation. Yep. Okay, so just give me 1 second. So we're in the year 2012, and this is Elder Tess, and this is Moses striking the rock, and that's a failure on his part, and it cost him his life. That did, didn't it? Not of the congregation. Okay. If that's the case, why would she blame the congregation? Okay, so Curtis says he's not clear that she did. But he wanted to remind us of that story, that application. Address. If we're supposed to listen to the angel, and in this history of 14, it was the first, so I think the question is, how did this member dare to stand in rebellion to the angel? That's the question. Yeah? How dare a member stand up in rebellion to an angel? So again, I know we all haven't watched it, but we discussed that question also at the last camp meeting. And I want to answer the question this way. You have an angel, and they have a responsibility. If they don't do their job, they get into trouble like Moses did. Okay? So they have one job function in 2 parts. One of them is that they have, we'll just call it a message or a mission. Hope we can conceptualize that. And connected to that, their role in life is to protect the flock, the congregation. So that's their job function. And then number 3, the flock, the congregation, the general membership. What's their job function? To obey the angel. That's all they're allowed to do. You can find various models in the inspiration. If the angel's an under shepherd, the flock know the voice of the shepherd and follow the shepherd wherever the shepherd takes them. Are we all okay so far? Okay, so the question was it, whose question was it? Andres' question. Now it comes to number 2, this member. What's their responsibility? What's their job function, their role? We'll go with their responsibility. We've worked out the responsibility angel of the general membership. They're in bed with one another. Number 1 and 3, the angel and the general membership. What's the responsibility of the individual? Anybody? Number 2, the individual member. Remember, everything's got layers. On one level, number 2 is part of number 3, remember? But we've separated them. So when you take that person on their own, what's their responsibility? Ah, who was that? Who? Okay, so their responsibility as an individual is to be critical about the message and to understand it. Anyone else? Curtis? So to understand the message and to build upon it. Blessing? Maybe we. So isn't it about that they're standing in rebellion per se? That happens later. What's their overall, their general responsibility? If you're not sure, then follow through with your thought. They're seen as they're in rebellion, you said. 1 second. They have to justify their position. Okay, so let's walk through this together. Once they're in rebellion, an effect happens. They have to do something. How did they get in rebellion? They examined the message and they said what when they examined it? They said the message is not correct. The message of the angel. So they're going to fight against that message, come up with their own message, and now they're in rebellion. How it goes? So my question to everybody, is that their responsibility? Because that was my question. Is that their responsibility? Blessing said yes. Almost. Didn't say it's their responsibility. Said that's just what happened. So I haven't asked him about the legality of that. Is it legal for individual members? We were told to critically examine the message. So what's the point of critically examining the message if you're not going to take the next step, which is rebellion? If you don't like the message. Okay, so Curtis said their job. I used a software before, their responsibility. So the problem in this dynamic, this relationship between these three elements is collectively you're required to obey. But individually, as a person, you're required to prove all things and hold fast that which is true. Or as Martin Luther said, what does he say? We'll go with sola scriptura, which is okay. And so what did they tell him to do? And what does he say to them? When the first angel says, just bow. He says, I can't, because he says it's dangerous for an individual to go against their conscience. We could do a study on what the conscience is. But the responsibility of that one person, that member, is not to go against their conscience. And if you think this relationship between these three elements is strange, then you don't understand the glory of the United States. The tension that it has to deal with. And what is that tension that it has to deal with? Because it has those three elements. Who's the angel? The president, the executive branch, the federal government. Three things. Number three is the whole country, the people. Number two, we could argue with the states or the individual. And it's the tension between my rights and the rights of the whole country, the population. That tension that lies between groupthink and individual freedom. So I want us to see that this tension exists. It's required to be there. And every once in a while, it causes problems. When that member and the angel butt horns with one another. But number three, I contend that their only obligation is to follow the angel, not the member. Responsibility of the general membership is to follow the angel, not the member. If you agree with that, then this question that Blessing asked here says that the general membership did not fail in the 2014 history. It was the angel that failed, not the membership. And if we were to take this model that Elder Tess gave us, she clearly speaks here of the angel failing. And if that's the case, then maybe we could give her the leeway or the license when she said here, the movement Maybe she meant the leadership. Those who were in charge, who were leading the movement. Maybe we could do that. Otherwise, I want us to see. So I'm saying I agree with Blessing. I can't work a model here in the 2014 history where the members fail. Either the message was kept hidden, or if they knew about it, should have been angel. It's duty to do that. As much as it is the duty of that individual member to fight against the angel. Any questions on 14? Members, I'm saying in 2014, members, like sheep, don't have a functioning brain. Their only job is to obey. We'll go with 2014 first. Do you agree with that? So now you're bringing in a subject of equality. There was equality then. Like today, isn't practiced very well. We might have improved, but it's only an incremental improvement. We had equality then. My question is, do you agree that their only obligation is to follow the angel in 2014? Because what you can't do is jump to 24. You break the rules. That's why we use methodology. I want us to be clear, hopefully we are. The reason we do this, compare and contrast, is based upon one premise. Maybe more than one, but what is the premise that it's based upon? Curtis? The thing that you want to analyze, you don't know. Okay? So it's based upon a premise. If you're looking at something and you don't know, you go to a model that you do know the answer to. And the one that you go to, if you're good, you choose a story that has all the same properties as the story that you don't know the answer to. Unless you do that, you're always going to struggle to know whether or not your conclusions are right or wrong. We can't look at our current history and think that we know things. And we can't go to 40 and say we don't like that version, so we don't want to apply it now. Are we all okay with that? That we would rigidly stick to that principle. even if you don't like the answer. Natalie? We're comparing and contrasting, and as soon as you say it's different, then you need to throw this all away. I'm saying we have equality. I don't know what equality has to do with this, but we did have it. You said today, individual members have a right to rebel. Yes? Agree? Yes. I'm saying go to 2014, and it's your obligation, your duty to rebel. You're required to do that. I can't be, the individual can't be clearer than that, I don't think. So if you rebel then, you rebel now. Maybe it doesn't end up with rebellion, but you follow your conscience and you don't listen to anybody as the individual. So, congregation, you're not allowed to do that. And if you're asking, well, I'm confused now, good. Because it's what real life is all about. The rights of the individual compared to the rights of the group. Oh, good. Oh, good. Yep. So our time is ended. We have how long a break? So we'll get back together at 10:30 local time. It's 15-minute break. Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you that we have the privilege of being able to talk openly and frankly with one another and with you. That you allow us, even despite our ignorance and our mortality, to question your wisdom and your immortality. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.